Hey everyone, welcome to week 3. Hope everybody's feeling good about things so far. If not, let me know so that I can help you with whatever it is that might be getting in the way, whether it's, tech issues, Schoology in general, workload, whatever. Let me help if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. So last week we talked about relative dating. And so when we talk about relative dating, we're just looking at landforms or layers of the earth. We're looking at them in relation to other things or other layers. Okay, so now what we're going to do is talk about how geologists come up with absolute dates. So how we come up with things like, well, the earth is 4.5 billion years old. So you may have to take some notes this week, and you may have to do some review. Notice that there's some basic chemistry review here. So we're going to start just by taking a quick look at that page. So this might be information that as soon as you read it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember this stuff. It might not. If it's not, you might have to spend a little bit more time here and make sure that you understand. And there's even links here that you can use that take you to CK12, which is actually, it's an online textbook. It's where most of this content has come from. And it's a great site because you can actually go to content and find more resources if you need it. So you'll notice that at the bottom of pages that have that CK12 content, there's just a little ck12.org here. You can do a search for that. If you ever feel like you need another source of information, that's a great place to go. So, and I may have neglected to mention this before, and I would assume that everybody would know this, but often you have to actually scroll through a page. Like you can kind of tell when you click on a page. I don't know if you guys play this game, but when you hit next and you go to a page, you see how big this scroll bar is. If it's really big, that means, oh, this is a really short page. Obviously, this is a little bit longer page. There's a lot of room for this thing to move, so make sure you're always scrolling all the way down to the bottom and getting all of the content. Whoops, trying to move that over. It's not going anywhere. There we go. Okay, so here's our basic chemistry review. You need to understand what elements are, what atoms are, and then isotopes. And you should have been introduced certainly to atoms and elements as early as 5th or 6th grade, probably had some review in middle school. Isotopes, maybe not so much. This might be a new idea, but if you understand atoms and the way atoms are made up, then you should be able to understand isotopes. Now, as you go through this basic chemistry review, if there's any of it you're just feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so lost, I really feel like I need some extra help with this, don't forget I can do that. You can stop by one of the work sessions, or you can just send me a message or text or whatever and just say, hey, you got to work with me on this because I'm not sure what I'm doing here. And I can open up that virtual classroom and we can go through some of these concepts together. Okay, so just to make sure that you've got that basic chemistry review down, there's a basic chemistry learning check. So these learning check assignments, guys, these are meant to be quick, easy points for you. And it's just a way for me to say, hey, make sure that you know this content. So go through the content. You can have this page open, this basic chemistry review page, have that open in one tab and have the learning check open in another tab. Okay? These are set up, they're not really meant to be quizzes. It's more like a study guide, or like I said, just a learning check, just to help you hone in on the information that you really need and that you should understand. Okay? So from there, some ideas that may be new to you: radioactive decay, what that is, and radiometric dating of rocks. Okay, so this is how we are actually coming up with those ages. So lots of information here. Again, there are some videos. I think, oh yeah, there's one on this page, and then I think that's it for this page. I thought one had 2 on it, but let's look and see. Yeah, this one has 2. Now, these are awesome because they are actually probably familiar to you. You guys have probably watched Solcom videos before. So I think this will really help because he does such a great job just going through some basics. Now, if you didn't understand some of that basic chemistry, this is going to be hard for you. So make sure you're spending time with that basic chemistry and understanding it, because then this conversation here and carbon-14 dating 1 and carbon-14 dating 2, both of these are, one follows the other, so make sure you watch this one first. These will make much more sense if you understand the basic chemistry. The language will make sense. So make sure that you watch both of those. That's an area, again, where you might want to take some notes, because that will help you as you move forward in the content. Okay, so after this information on radioactive decay, radiometric dating of rocks, then you have another learning check. So again, feel free to have this open while you're accessing this content, because I'm not expecting you to go through this stuff and memorize it immediately. This is just a learning check so that you are sure in your head that you've picked up the necessary information. Now, here's the real application part here, and actually it's more practice, but some application too. This radiometric dating game, I know there's a lot of dead space on this screen, so I wanted to make sure you see you need to scroll down, because I had to put this as an attachment, so it just comes up strange that way. I'll keep working on trying to fix this page so you don't miss it, but there is a simulation here that you will be using to go through this radiometric dating game. Oh, I know what's missing here. You know what? Okay. See this little shield up here? If this ever happens to you, I have a video in there, and I have to click that shield and tell it to load unsafe script. And when I do that, my video comes up. I will fix this though. I can actually, I can actually create an MP4 file and put it in this page so that you shouldn't have to do that. But I want you to be aware of that issue in case that ever comes up in this class or another one where you're thinking, there should be a video there and I'm not seeing it. It might just be that I forgot to actually download and convert that video and then put it back in the course. So that'll be fixed by the time you see this. So anyway, this video, very, very important, because you may have a really hard time with this simulation if you don't watch this video. It's 15 minutes long, but it's worth every minute because I show you how to use this simulation, which can be very confusing if you don't watch it. You may have to watch it more than once. You may have to start the video and then either split your screen, or gosh, if you're lucky enough to have a second screen, have it over there. Maybe if you have another device, you could pull it up on another device, an iPad or something, or even your phone, so that you can pause and keep moving through this video for parts where you need it as you go through the simulation, which is down here. And here's the link. This radioactive dating game. So these PhET simulations are really cool. They are developed right here in Colorado, University of Colorado Boulder, and they're made by Colorado teachers, and they're really nice simulations because, I don't know about you, but I happen to be a visual learner. If I can see this stuff happening, I get it so much better than if I'm just trying to read or even watch a video. So this gives you time to interact with that information and hopefully get a much better handle on what's going on there. So as you do this, what you need to know is that, let me pull up the next page here, I think, here we go, is that you have questions to answer here. So these questions in this quiz, so again guys, this is just a way for me to get those answers in a place where it's really easy for me to compare your answers, grade them quickly, so on and so forth. Those are in the attached worksheet that you're going to answer, and that's way down here. Okay, I think this is the dead space that I was thinking about in my head. When I saw that dead space for this video, I was thinking it was there. It's actually here, and so that's the attachment I had to add that's way down at the end of the page. I don't want you to miss this. So when you open this up, you'll see that it's those same questions that are in the quiz that we just looked at. I'm just pulling it up here for you. So you are going to, there's actually a procedure, so it tells you what you're going to do. And then there's some areas here where you need to fill in these blanks. So what you may want to do is actually print this out so that you can be adding your answers as you go through. And then you can use this paper when you go into the quiz on the next page, because you'll see that it matches up exactly with those blanks you had there in that worksheet. So just know that that all goes together. And then at the very end here, remember you had that sneak peek to the geologic timescale last week at the very end of the session. And I know that image was not very good. It was very small. If I made it big, it got really blurry. But that was just for you to kind of get an idea. You didn't really need to go in depth and really read that geologic timescale. And again, that's something that I assume you've been introduced to. And whenever I say this, it's because I'm using what we call CAP in Jeffco, and it's a way for me as a teacher to look back and see what Jeffco students should have been exposed to before they come to my class. So, and I know some of you have not been Jeffco students forever. However, if so, you should have at least been exposed to the geologic timescale. Now, this week what we're doing is looking at the actual dates on the geologic timescale. Now that you understand how we come up with numbers here, how we come up with absolute dating, you can look at the geologic timescale a little bit differently. And you don't have any learning checks or anything. I don't want to load you with another assignment this week, but make sure you understand that geologic timescale. You don't have to memorize it by any means, but you're already going to have a unit assessment next week. So our first unit assessment will be next week, and I will ask you some questions about the geologic timescale, but I will not be expecting you to do any of that from memory with the geologic timescale. I just expect you to be able to read it and answer some questions about what you see there. Okay? So that's it for this week. I hope to hear from you if you have any questions at all.